Good afternoon, HyddenWell farmers. My spring crop is definitely well on its way. That's little Sunday looking at you with the two tags in her ears. They've really growed a lot. They're coming along. It's been a while since I've been able to tell you a story from HyddenWell Farms, and you can tell with the COVID-19 pandemic, I ain't been able to get no haircut. And to walk in the clinic, and all my clients look at me and they have to take a double look. They ain't never seen me with long hair before. With this crazy pandemic and everything that's been going on, you know, with all these tag phrases, you know, the new normal and stuff of that nature. Well, for something to be normal, you had to have done it for a while. We haven't quite got our act together yet, but we're working. We're trying so hard to be compliant. But man, it's a whole set of new rules. You know, it's just totally different. But I got to thinking about this pandemic, and so many people have been injured by it, either physically, spiritually, or financially. I mean, there's just so many. There's nobody that's not affected by it. But I'm out here in the solitude of my farm, and I don't have a lot of people. There's nobody out here. I think Tyler is still up at the barn working on some tractors and stuff for me, but for the most part, I'm out here alone. And I got to thinking about injuries, farm-induced injuries. And that list is a pretty high list. But I'll tell you, I was young and had a lot of energy and excited to do anything. I was working for, again, Dr. Mike Culver down in Williamsburg, and we cut hay every summer. And my third summer there, I had become very proficient at running a tractor and fluffing and baling, raking hay. I mean, I was a hay aficionado. And those skills have really paid off here on this farm because I came already knowing how to make hay. And last year, I think we put up 2,500 bales, and this year we'll top out probably about 8,000 bales, and I plan on selling a lot of that. So we've limed our fields and done a lot of things. But regardless, we had this one backfield that was bumpy. It was dirty. It was hard to cut. It's hard to get to. And I don't know, it was even more secluded than my farm was that we were cutting. And we had been out there, I mean, this summer, oh gosh, guys, it must have been 100,000 million degrees out there. It was so hot. And I sat on that tractor for 4 solid days, and I had completed fluffing or tedding the field, which means after you cut it, you go through and it throws it up in the air and it scatters it everywhere so that more surface of the hay can get sunlight and get blanched and dried out so that you can bale it properly. We were out there on that field. I was out there on that field, and I had just finished this long day and had got it all tedded. Well, Mike had a tedder rake. And what that means is that in one position where the two drums were side by side, you could ted the field. But you had to switch all of the teeth, and you had to put them in a divergent angle for them to rake the field. So it was an awesome piece of equipment, but to switch it from tedding to raking, man, it took at least 30 minutes. And you had to get down there and just brutally move that thing. It wasn't an easy task. I mean, it was all manual. No hydraulics, no springs, no nothing. You just had to manually get down there and do it. But it was on a flywheel. which means you can engage it or disengage it just, by a flick of a button and stuff, and you can test it and make sure everything's working good. And these two forks that come off of the tedder, they come round, but as they beat the ground for a really long period of time, they become rubbed off like a fingernail, and they get super, super, super sharp. And in my brilliance, I'm way out there in the middle of nowhere, and I had just completed switching the machine from a tedding position to a raking position. And the reason I've done that is so that when we got up early the next morning, I'd already have that done, and we could just go into tedding. Just go into, raking, get it ready to bale it. Makes sense, right? So in my joy and jubilee of doing this, getting it all set up and fixed, I gave that big old piece of equipment a big spin. I grabbed it just like the Wheel of Fortune, and I slung it, and I twisted it, and I heard them gears engage. Whoo, my eyes perked up. I heard all of them snappy things engage, snick, snick, and I heard it begin to twist and to turn, and that beautiful sound of that piece of equipment being engaged and turning, and everything's working, and I've got it set. Nothing fell apart, but there's one thing I forgot. Don't forget this. The teeth stay folded in when it ain't moving. But when it's spinning, they engage. I spun it in the counterclockwise direction, which means they all engaged, but they were pointed at me. And when I slung it, and I gave it that thing, two of those spears went clean through my boot at my ankle and right into my leg, and literally pierced my bone instantly. And I was like, no! I mean, it's such a surreal moment because I knew what had happened. And I had this real sharp jolt of pain, but then there was no pain. And I was like, what in the world have I done? And I looked down and I could not get my leg off of this rake tedder. It was stuck because my leg had been impaled by this thing. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, this kind of fear and panic begins to bubble up in you, and I didn't know what to do. There was nobody to call. There was no cell phones. There was nobody out there. It was just me. They, thank goodness, would come check on me every 3 or 4 hours, but I didn't want to sit there in the hot heat stuck to a tedder, impaled for 3 or 4 hours. So I sucked it up, Buttercup, and I jerked my leg off of that tedder. And it hurt so bad. I was literally 19 or 20 years old, and I was just boo-hooing. I had crocodile tears. I was hurting. I was laying on that field in the ground in the hot sun, and I mean, my leg was throbbing. I don't know why. I mean, time makes me look back on my youth. I wonder about myself, but I didn't seek any medical attention. I didn't take my sock nor my boot off. I could feel the blood filling up my boot and my shoe and all that kind of stuff, but I did not remove it. I left it right there. After a few minutes of rolling on the ground, I got the courage to get up and limp around. I got back up on the tractor, and I moved everything to where it was supposed to be. And I got off, and I got in the car, and this was my right foot, so I had to drive with it. And somehow or another, I drove myself home. Once I got home and everything was settled, I could see the 2 holes in my brand new Red Wing leather boots, which just really displeased me. I inched my boot off, and then I slowly peeled my sock off, and then I stuck my leg down in a cold tub of bath water. Luckily, at Mom's house, the toilet sat right next to the bathtub, and I just filled it up with the coldest water I could. I just stuck my whole leg down in there, and it was just instant relief from the pain. But I did not want, I don't know. I just didn't want to get in trouble. I told nobody. I told nobody. And over the period of about a week, man, my leg and my calf and my foot and swelled up, and I would force that boot on. I was just not going to be made fun of. I wasn't going to do it. Moral of the story is be careful out there. And the lesson of the story is if you impale yourself all the way to the bone, seek medical attention. Don't suffer and set up gangrene like I probably should have done. Don't risk it. Get a tetanus shot and seek medical attention, okay? God bless you from HyddenWell Farms. I hope you enjoyed Storytime. Bye-bye.